no other nation in the ancient world had institution but Egypt. That's it. Where you go and you see mass production. Like today, United States is a institutionalized nation. You got a library in every goddamn city. You got you got tens of 10, 20, 30 in some of the major cities. 40 goddamn libraries. Each library got 30 books, 30,000 books in it. You got the Smithsonian that got the Smithsonian got 68 million volumes. Okay? We're talking about institution. You ain't got one book. In institution, you got mass production of literature. You see what I'm saying? In order to have mass production of literature, you got to have millions of educated individuals. Not like in the goddamn Europe, black, and during the so-called dark ages, when damn near 99.9% of the goddamn population was illiterate. They couldn't even even when they created the printing press, they couldn't even mass produce books because the goddamn populace was fucking illiterate. So they had to spend hundreds of years, even after producing the printing press, to educate the masses so that they could read the goddamn book. So the European did not become institutionalized into the 1800s. Okay, whereas when you go into Egypt, they done found millions of scrolls. You got writing on all of the temples. You got writing on the smallest little jewelry. You see what I'm saying? This was the first institutionalized nation with libraries and so on and so forth. You didn't have no libraries in no Greece. The majority of the Greek populace, 99.9%, was illiterate. They did not have paper. They did not have an alphabet. How in the fuck you gonna have an alphabet before you have paper? And paper come from papyrus, okay? So you did not have paper until you come into Egypt. That's with Alexander at 332 BC. So the story of Plato and Socrates and all of that, that's a myth. They no different than the Hebrews with all they prophets that never found a grave, never found no production of literature from the time when they supposedly lived. They had the goddamn Greeks is in the same goddamn boat as the goddamn Hebrew prophets. Okay, I just want to be clear about that. So even on top of the goddamn sciences that I'm discussing, you got to have paper, you have to have an alphabet, you have to have a number system, you have to invent geometry and shit before you can even start writing up blueprints. That shit take thousands and thousands and thousands of years. So when you take that skyscraper and do that for your homework, think of how many different sciences, advanced sciences, that it would take to come together to make that fucking skyscraper. And then just imagine somebody fumbling or stumbling upon the knowledge of how to build a goddamn skyscraper. You fool? Nah, let's get back to the old man so you understand what I'm saying. That was an advanced, complex creation. Okay, so either the Olmecs were the Africans that came from the Nile, or they sat in the goddamn school of the Egyptians and got their education. Either goddamn or. There is no other way to explain it. Let me talk to y'all today. Just warming up. I got to say that so you can understand certain shit. You can't just jump into the photo. Once you understand that and understand how a motherfucker write a blueprint up and the different type of math sciences that it take to make a guy. Today, they building so high, now they have to, to build, and they invent ways where because the wind would blow that motherfucker over. They designing that motherfucker where the wind can go through that motherfucker. You understand? Then they got that one beam in the middle. And that might come from out of Asia, because them pagodas got that beam in the middle. So when the wind blow, that motherfucker kind of go different ways to, so that it could throw off the shock of the damn wind. You see what I'm saying? That is a different science that it takes. You understand what I'm saying? They got that shit from the Asian. So many of them damn skyscrapers got that beam in the middle, and that motherfucker rock back and forth like this. You know what I'm saying? To take off some of the shock of that wind, you know, especially at them high altitudes blowing through there. And now I see where they designing, where they just leaving areas of the damn building like open. You know, they'll build up so high, and then right in one of the floors, they'll leave an area in it kind of open so the wind will blow through there. That takes hundreds and hundreds of fucking years, thousands of years to develop that. Okay, so you're not gonna fumble on that. You're gonna have to go to a school and sit your ass in that school and learn that science just back then, just like you learned today. All right, got to warm you up. We ain't even got into the damn. So here again, we're looking at the Corbel vault, which originated in Africa. Again, this is the Red Pyramid. There's the Corbel vault. And you come to Mexico, Guatemala. This is at Uxmal. Okay, I was there. This is at Tikal. You see at the top, you see the Corbel vault in that structure. Okay, this is again is Uxmal. And this is how, to the right, this is how most of the so-called American pyramids was built. Okay, this is in Honduras. You see the Corbel vault all the way from Africa. You ain't just go up and motherfucking create that unless you went to a goddamn architectural engineering school in Africa. If you want to learn how to build a goddamn skyscraper, you're going to have to go to a architectural engineering school in the United States or in Europe, and they probably got some in China today. You see what I'm saying? But that's where you're going to have to learn this science. Now, you're looking at the cross section of the Great Pyramid. Now, when you come to Picard's pyramid, you cannot help but to see the same cross section. I'm just touching on two things today, family. I'm dealing with the Corbel vault, and I'm dealing with the cross section. Now, you gonna tell me you cannot see that this is coming from the same damn architectural school? No Indian built this before the coming of the Olmecs, and I'm gonna prove that the Olmecs were African. They were not Native Americans. You got a lot of Mexicans out here that putting some puffy face so-called Indian next to the Olmecs. I'm gonna shoot that down. I'm gonna show you without no doubt that the Olmecs were African people based on their culture, and I'm proving here based on culture. This is not niggas talking about DNA. Fuck the DNA. Nigga, we don't need nobody to go where we can't see. We don't, today, if a motherfucking police looking for a nigga, he don't need a DNA test to know he a nigga. Okay, if the police looking for an Indian, they don't need no motherfucking DNA test to know an Indian when they see an Indian. Okay, if the police was looking for a Caucasian man of 20 years old, they don't need a DNA. If it's a particular white man they looking for, then they might need a DNA test. But you don't need no fucking DNA test to know an African when you see one. You fool. You's a fool. See, they want to go in an area where they can play games with you. You know what I'm saying? See, everybody don't, and that's some white man understanding. He done took science from Africa and he's manipulated to his own advantage. Like Dr. Clark said, everything that has ever came from the European mind was created for him to control the world. There is no exempt. Nothing is exempt. Okay, everything that he created to control the world. Even DNA testing, even his science was to control the world, not to deliver unto you no damn knowledge, fool. And so you niggas using a Caucasian's science to prove what? Nigga, some madness? You got to jump up out of that shit. You got to always understand that your ancestors created science. God damn it, you don't need no goddamn white man science to prove nothing, okay? So now look at this. This is an American university class. See, you see all that. You see white people. You see Asians. You see black people. See what I'm saying? Now, if you don't understand in the ancient world that there were universities just the same. You understand what I'm saying? Now, if this was an architectural class, then this is where you came to get that science. If you did not sit in this class in a Western school, you see Orientals out there. Now today, the white man the Asian is building skyscrapers as tall as, or even taller than the white man. Okay, you got the Asian building cars even better than but he had to sit in these schools first. That's why they was sending, they still send their babies to Western schools right now today. What for? What they told them, go get that knowledge. You niggas didn't have enough sense to go and do that. We should have beat the Asian in making cars long time. We should have hundreds of cars that we should be making. We done been in their schools longer than anybody. But the only thing you want to do is be the white man's nigga. That's all you want. You ain't got no, you want to go work for the white man. That's what you want to do. Let me get some water. God damn it. You want to be the white man's nigga. That's all. Let me get some water. I'm just warming up. Okay? So, we got to be clear about some things now. Let me get some water. I ain't even got started, y'all. See, because by the time I get to that damn lecture, I don't want to be going over this. You know, but I will. I touch on it. But y'all should know this, okay? Y'all should know. So now, what am I saying about this? Okay? Just like you get education today, you get education yesterday. Okay? When you're ready to go into your major, when you're ready to go into that advanced major that you want to, build your career in, where do you go? Where do you go? You go to the university. Okay? You don't go to Lucky Leroy basement where y'all niggas smoke weed and talk about y'all gods and we got the science. You're not going to learn how to build no skyscraper in Lucky Leroy's basement, smoking weed. You got to go to a university, whether it's a Western university. I don't know. They may have African architectural universities today. I'm not sure. I'm going to do my research to see if we didn't. Well, you know what? Let me say that. Yes, they do. Because when I was in Ethiopia, the Ethiopians is building massively today. Let me straighten my thoughts up. I had to straighten my thoughts up. You know what I'm saying? The Ethiopians is building beautiful, housing all over Ethiopia. And I saw it and I was really amazed at the level of their architectural science. The Ethiopians is still advanced when I looked and seen how they built them mega churches and how they built them stela at Oxford. And they still on that level. They still on that level. They ain't never lost the science, and they building very beautiful and massive living quarters all over the Ethiopian nation. Okay, so I must say that. But you still have to go to a university to get this knowledge. Now, I think this is the tallest building in Arabia, and that's that clock. That's that clock at Mecca, okay? That's that clock at Mecca. But it must be understood that it was a German, okay? It's called the SL, whatever that shit is. I'm not about to, because it's an Arab name. Special and lightweight structures based in Stuttgart, Germany. Specialized in special buildings and lightweight structures, integrating architecture and engineering. Now, the architect was Arab, but he was trained in Germany, okay? Now, we all know traditional Arab living quarters. They lived in tents. They did not know nothing about no skyscrapers. So, why am I saying this? Because it's just like what they doing with the pyramid. Where most people gonna say, well, the Indian built the pyramids in the Americas. They different from the pyramids in Egypt. They different from all. Everybody came up with the knowledge all by themselves. Okay, and that would be like coming back 1,000 years and say these skyscrapers is still standing in Arabia, skyscrapers still standing in Asia, skyscrapers still standing in America, and people conceive that all of these skyscrapers were constructed with a science that developed separate from each other. It's not true. Once you invent the science of the skyscraper is invented. You don't can't nobody reinvent it, nigga. You take and develop upon that. Okay, you don't, but you have to, because it takes thousands and thousands of years to develop. You're not going to stumble onto that now. Either you go to somebody who has it or you will not have it. So if the Arab had not went to the West to develop, he would have still been living in tents today. If the Asian had not went to the West to develop, they ass would still be in pagodas. It's just that simple, okay? I'm warming up now, and I want you to take it. So this is the architect right here. His name is Mahmoud, okay? He's the architect. He's an Arab, but he was trained in Germany, okay? Now, this is the building. This one right here is in goddamn, I don't know if this is the Dubai. I forgot to put it in there. Now, you would think, okay, just because you see, it was the West that built that damn building, okay? These are the architects. It was a European American architectural foundation that built that goddamn skyscraper, okay? It was based off of the same knowledge that went into New York and Chicago, okay? And they took that same knowledge and took it into Arabia, okay? Now this is in Asia, okay? Now that tallest building, if I'm not mistaken, is the, what's the name of that building? Shanghai Tower. But it was designed by the American architectural firm, Gensler, okay? But they used a Chinese architect that led the design team. So again, even when you look at some of the tallest buildings in Asia, okay? The European is there. Okay, this is Peronis Towers in Malaysia, okay? Those towers was designed by this white man right here, Caesar Pelli, okay? So as you see, from Asia to Arabia, all these pyramids, all these skyscrapers, which are the modern day skyscrapers, the ancient skyscrapers are the pyramids, okay? Let me come out. Let me come out right quick. Warming y'all up. So what I just showed you, okay, you're not going to stumble into it, okay? Each one of these skyscrapers developed based on the original knowledge that came out of the Chicago, up out of New York, which was extended from the ancient architectural knowledge, okay, of the pyramids, which is the ancient skyscraper. So again, I'm warming you up. So when I get to these Olmecs, and I show, just like I show you the Cobalt Vault, that's African.